Thanks for staying with us on SABC News. Relief efforts continue in a number of informal settlements across Cape Town following a week of heavy winds which caused devastating fires. In Jimdabos, an informal settlement in Philippi, some 80 structures were gutted, leaving over 300 people displaced. SABC News reporter Vanessa Poonah and cameraman Clinton Kerf have more on the story. A very good afternoon to you, Vanessa. Just take us through what you're seeing there.
Nzinga, good afternoon to you. And while many people across the Cape Town as well as South Africa are celebrating a festive season for residents in some informal settlements like the one here in Jimdabos in Philippi on the Cape Flats, it's been anything but. I'll step out of shot for just a second so that you can see what we are witnessing here at the moment. Of course, this is the aftermath, Nzinga, of a fire which broke out on Christmas morning. Over 80 structures, leaving some 330 people homeless and displaced. Of course, at the moment, you will see some of the men trying their best to rebuild after this tragedy struck us. And I can tell you that speaking to city authorities this morning, saying to us that due to a respite in the heavy gale force southeasterly winds which blew across Cape Town and the Western Cape over the past few days, there's been no active fires reported in the metro so far. We do know that there is a vegetation fire burning on the Paardeberg mountains out in the Drakensberg municipality, and a number of firefighters and fire resources are on that scene. That, of course, a vegetation fire burning in the mountains. Here behind me, desperate people are trying their best to rebuild. I've got one of those fire victims with me, Alzetta Lottering. She is a mother of two, and she woke up to the blaze on Christmas morning. Alzetta, good afternoon to you. You tell me that you woke up on Christmas morning to a fire burning. Explain to us what happened to your structure. What did you see? What have you lost in this fire?
It was around about 2-3 past 3. We were still sleeping, and then some guy come and he shouted, "It's fire! It's burning!" And then we just had to jump out of and just grab my children and run out of the shack.
You told me that you have two children aged 2 and 6 years old. Were you able to salvage, to rescue any clothing, foodstuffs? What has happened in the few days since then?
I didn't save anything because I couldn't save anything. I just grabbed my children and I ran out of the house. And because of the wind was blowing so strong, the fire it spread very fast. So there wasn't time to save anything, but I'm glad I saved my children.
We understand that people are, and we can see people are trying to rebuild with some of the already burnt corrugated iron sheeting. I understand that there is a need. We know that there are relief agencies like the Gift of the Givers, and we'll speak to them just now, providing food, meals, etc. What is the need for your community now in terms of rebuilding your homes?
What we really need is material, because we're struggling with material. We are just, with the burning stuff, we are just trying to make a place for us to sleep in the night. We do get some food from Gift of the Givers and other people. We get some clothes and so, but we really need material because we have nothing. We don't have nowhere to sleep.
Alzetta, it's been a very difficult Christmas for you. New Year in a few days' time. Just your feelings and the feelings of your community at this stage after the devastation that was wreaked here.
Yes, on Christmas Day we couldn't even spend the day with our children. We lost everything. We lost our food. We lost our clothes. I have to take my children. New Year's also coming. We don't have a place to sleep. What I'm gonna do and where I'm gonna go.
Alzetta, of course, telling us a very sad story there. Thank you for sharing your personal experience with us. Alzetta Lottering, one Nzinga of the over 300 people that were affected when the fire ripped through this informal settlement on Christmas morning, in the early hours of Christmas morning. You will know from the visuals that we brought you all of last week, you would know that, of course, the devastating fire which started out in Simonstown on the 19th of December, of course, destroying some 3,500 hectares of vegetation, and of course shortly after that the Glencairn fire. But we also know that informal settlements here in Philippi, informal settlements in Ottery, in Imizama Yetu, have also claimed homes of various people and communities in those informal settlements. I've got with me now Ali Sablay from the Gift of the Givers, as always, offering that humanitarian support and assistance to communities in distress. Ali, good day to you. You've been in a number of informal settlements, and of course each and every time when there are fires wreaked in communities, the issue remains the same: densely populated informal settlements, the lack of formal housing, and of course this time round even the city of Cape Town was telling us that although it is the fire season this year, it has been extreme, in terms of the sheer scale. I've read that over 1,000 fires were responded to over this period. Your experience on the ground in terms of what you've seen and the work that you've been doing in these various communities?
Most definitely it's been one of the busiest seasons. Just for clarity, it's the 14th informal settlement fire we're dealing with in 3 weeks. On Christmas Eve, we received the first call from Hillview Informal Settlement, as you said in your introduction, that gale force winds. Within a few minutes, 600 people were displaced. 4 to 5 firefighters had to be hospitalized in Hillview. While we were busy at that informal settlement, we got a call from this informal settlement asking us to rush through. There's about 80 structures on fire. These people has lost everything. As the lady before us said, the emotion the children are going through are spending Christmas not with a roof over their head, going into New Year, not know where their next meal is coming from. And we came on board delivering humanitarian aid to this informal settlement as well as the one in Hillview. And when we thought we were done for Christmas Day, Wallace in Kraaifontein also burnt out. And then, as we know, yesterday morning, the early hours was in Imizama Yetu, in Houtbaai. So altogether, it's about over 1,000 people we are assisting throughout this 5 days with hot meals, toiletries, baby care packs. And the main thing that they're crying for at the moment is material. They are staying out in the open with their young ones, and it becomes a danger to them. And especially in informal centers that's densely populated, if a structure catches fire, the way it spreads. So we're appealing to people as well. This morning there's been an appeal from the fire department. Please do not start unnecessary fires. If you're planning of having a braai, but the wind is strong in the township, don't have one. Don't leave any material unattended, because not only affecting your life, you're affecting the whole community.
And that's one thing that the message that came through strongly from the City of Cape Town's authorities, saying that yes, it is the fire season, but also it is undisputed that in many cases the fires are started through human negligence or human error. What can people do? I mean, people living in informal settlements, I know, largely depend on open fires to cook, etc. But the general public out there, we do know, especially in gusty weather conditions, windy conditions, fires spread, they jump, they leap, and various areas and communities are then affected. Your advice from a humanitarian point of view?
Most definitely. We see how far-stretched our firefighters is. They had to call in additional reinforcements from Brede Rivier, Saldanha Bay, etc. All credit due to the firefighters. Besides tackling the fires of informal settlements, they are busy with veld fires and mountain fires. But a word of encouragement to people living or warning to people living in the township: please, if you see the weather's coming up strong, listen to that warnings. This is the 4th fire we are dealing with in 2 days. You can see the total destruction and the trauma this community is going through. There are people that are saved months for just putting something on the table. They lost everything. So our appeal to them is to not leave fires unattended. If you have to cook, do it in a safe environment where at least there's a covering around the stove where wind won't catch the fire and spread it onto your informal settlement there, affecting communities. And those staying in densely populated areas should take the most precautions, because we just seen 2 weeks ago what happened in Dunoon, where close to 500 structures burnt out in less than 3-4 hours because of a fire that was negligently, a stove that was left on, where the owner just ran to the shop, and in that way a whole informal settlement was destroyed.
Ali, thank you for speaking to us, and thank you for being there for our communities in distress. Of course, the Gift of the Givers, Ali Sablay, just giving us an indication there, Nzinga, of how busy they've been in terms of offering that humanitarian aid to communities in need. I mean, we also know that there have been a number of other fires, for example, building fires in areas such as Woodstock, etc. And then once again, the appeal just going out, because December, January are the windy, sunny, very hot and windy conditions in Cape Town. The appeal has been going going out for people to be extra vigilant, not just those living in informal settlements, but people generally when they go out and do braais, etc., to be very cautious and to make sure that fires are put out completely before moving off to prevent, and I'll just step out of shot once again so that you can have a look, to prevent the kind of scale of damage that we've seen, and of course at the end of the day the human cost and the cost to people that have spent the entire year-long savings on foodstuffs, clothing, etc., for their little ones, for themselves, have gone up in flames, not just here at this informal settlement but also in various others across Cape Town. So once again, that appeal going out in Zinga that people do take care and do take note and do heed the various warnings from authorities in terms of high winds as well as the fire hazards that could occur from them.
SABC News' Vanessa Poonah coming to us there from Philippi in the Western Cape, just showing the devastation and following that story as well.